For that to happen, we have to have a different kind of leadership. It's what I like to call the difference between horizontal and vertical leadership. I don't think a person with a Washington address has an advantage going into this election cycle, because most people look at what's happened in Washington and what they see is a climate that is so polarized that it's become paralyzed and problems aren't getting solved, even the ones that we sent them there to solve. And sadly, a lot of the political realm has become fixated on things that are horizontal: left, right, liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican. As I listened to my friend and colleague Mitch Daniels talk about what it means to be a governor, I was thinking, couldn't agree more, that we get elected from our parties, but we serve to solve problems. And hopefully we solve them with the idea of our principles intact. But it is a job of being pragmatic and practical. It's a job of bringing results. And quite frankly, the American people are less interested whether we're left, right, liberal, conservative, Republican, or Democrat. What they want to know, not are we this side or this side, they want to know, are we vertical? Are we going to take them up? Are we going to take them down? And they will elect and support the ones who will lead them up to fix the real problems we face in this country. And if that's not what we are about, we not only won't win, we won't deserve to win. It really is about coming to the issues that Americans care about and saying, here's how we're going to fix it. The reason that a lot of people are angry with Congress is because for over 20 years they've sat on their hands while our borders have become wide open. And now it's more difficult to get on an airplane in your hometown than it is for an illegal to cross the border on an international line. And people are saying, what are you going to do about it? And ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we're upset with the immigrants. My goodness, if I lived anywhere else on earth, I'd want to come here too. We're not upset with them. We're upset with our government, who throws up its hands and says, we just can't do anything. You know, it's amazing to me. They'll say, well, how do we fix this? Well, start by doing the same thing you did to me at the airport. You make me go through a bunch of lines to get through. You know, I'm the governor of my state for 10.5 years, and I go to the airport in Little Rock, and they say, hi, Governor, how you doing? I'm doing fine. Got some bags, Governor? Yes, sir, I need to check them through. Oh, by the way, Governor, can we see your photo ID? Thought you just had it. You just told me who I was. But I do that because that's the law. And my point is that then they'll say, well, we don't know how to keep up with these folks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll order something off Amazon.com, and they can keep up with it by FedEx and UPS from the time it leaves the warehouse till the time it arrives on my doorstep. I finally decided if I become president, and with all the resources of the federal government, if they say we can't keep up with people, we'll just outsource this to FedEx or UPS. They'll do a good job of keeping up with everybody. Now, we all understand we face some serious challenges that are out there in a very dangerous world. And we need to understand that we are at war with an enemy unlike any we've ever faced. It's not a country. It's not an enemy that flies under a flag or has a single leader. And while politically incorrect to say so, this is an enemy that frankly is rooted in a religious extremism, which means that our war is not a traditional geopolitical war over boundaries and borders. It is at its heart a theological war that is being fought by those who believe that the only way they can win it is not to have peaceful coexistence, but to have our utter annihilation. And that's why it is a very dangerous war, in fact. And any president must understand that you cannot negotiate, compromise, or accommodate those whose sole purpose is to destroy you. But I would also suggest that national security is not only in our taking the fight to the Islamic jihadist, but our national security also depends on making sure that in this country we make this nation the strongest nation it can possibly be, and we pay attention to those things which will make it that way. And when people say, what do you think the next president will face as the most important concern? The issues internationally or the issues domestically? And that's like asking me when I get on an airplane, which wing is the most important? The one on the left or the one on the right? When I fly, I kind of like to see that both wings are firmly attached to the fuselage. It just makes me feel better, knowing that it flies better when both wings are there. I don't think we can separate those two very critical areas of urgency for our country's future. And let me say that our country has got to be able to be one that can feed itself. And here in the Midwest, you know something about agriculture, as I do from my state of Arkansas. The countries that cannot feed themselves are the countries that are really not free. They're dependent upon whoever feeds them to the level of freedom those countries are allowing them to have. A country also must be able to fuel itself, which is why I think that our country's got to quit talking about 20 and 30-year levels of energy independence, and we need to be saying that in 10 years we'll be energy independent, and we will no longer accept the idea that we will be completely held hostage by the people in the Middle East who manufacture oil and send it to us for whatever price. I, for one, am tired of putting a credit card in the gas pump, making the Saudi royal family just a little more obscenely rich, and being held hostage to them and to the things of that part of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time that we have our own self-sustaining, environmentally friendly, perpetuating energy supply, and that we make the commitment that we do it within a decade, not 20, 30 years from now. And if this country puts its mind to it, this country can do that, and we must do it for our own survival. We've got to be able to fuel ourselves.